It's a problem familiar to any parent of small children. How do you get them to sit still long enough to take a photograph? Of course, today our digital cameras can render out an image in a split second. But that wasn't the case in the Victorian era, when daguerreotypes, the first publicly available photographic process, was all the rage. Daguerreotypes, named after French scientist Louis Daguerre, required silver-plated copper to be polished to a mirror finish and then treated with fumes, making its surface light-sensitive. After exposing it to light within the camera housing, mercury vapor was then blown across its surface to make the latent image visible. It then had to be bathed in chemicals to remove its sensitivity to light, rinsed and dried, and finally sealed beneath glass, as even exposure to the air would mar the image. Of course, all of that was invisible to the subject of the photograph, but I just wanted to spell out just how laborious photography in the mid-1800s was. What was very apparent to those having their pictures taken was the amount of exposure time needed to imprint an image. In the 1840s, exposure times took anywhere from tens of seconds to several minutes. And this is why you almost never see people smiling in pictures from this era. But while an adult can be instructed to sit as still as possible for a given amount of time, young children are a completely different story. And that is why we have a Victorian genre of photography known as hidden mother photography. It's exactly what it sounds like. A mother or a nanny would drape themselves under a cloak, hide themselves behind a curtain, or even disguise themselves as a chair as a way to cradle the infant while the image was captured. Some of these photographs were better composed than others. Often arms and sometimes all but the mother's head are clearly visible. This practice continued into the 1920s, only disappearing as camera technology made exposure times much faster. Stay curious, my friends.